Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah, and today I want to share something deeply personal with you. My complete, unfiltered story of learning the English language. This isn't just a collection of tips. It's the roadmap of my entire journey from the very first curious spark to achieving the fluency that has transformed my life. Learning English opens up the world. It creates incredible opportunities in education, career, and most beautifully, in connecting with people and cultures from across the globe. But I know, as you know, that the path is not always easy. It's a journey filled with challenges, moments of frustration, and times when you feel like you're not making any progress at all. That is why I want to share my story with you today. We will walk through everything. The very first steps I took as a child, the core skills I had to build, the effective strategies I discovered along the way, the mindset that kept me going through difficult times, and finally, how I learned to truly live the language. This is a long and detailed masterclass, so I invite you to get comfortable. Think of this as a conversation where I share the lessons from my experience to help guide you on yours. I hope my story can inspire you, assist you, and show you that with persistence and the right approach, you can and will achieve your goals. So, let's begin at the very start. Part 1. The spark. My first encounter with English. I remember the exact moment I first heard the English language. It was a bright, sunny day and I was 7 years old. My father brought home a small new radio. It was a simple object, but it held a kind of magic. He switched it on, and a new voice filled our home. It spoke in a language I did not understand, with a rhythm and melody that were completely alien yet somehow beautiful to my young ears. It was English. The words were strange, but I was not scared. I was fascinated. I felt an immediate, powerful sense of curiosity. My father noticed the interest in my eyes. He smiled and said, "This is English. It is a very important language." He explained how many people all around the world speak it, and how learning it would open up many doors for me in the future. In that moment, I felt a spark of excitement. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to understand that beautiful, strange music. Soon after, my parents enrolled me in my first English class. I remember feeling a mix of nervousness and eagerness. My teacher was a kind woman named Mrs. Smith. She had a warm smile that made everyone feel welcome. Our very first lesson was the alphabet. Mrs. Smith showed us colorful pictures for each letter. A is for apple, she said, holding up a shiny red apple. We all repeated after her, our small voices full of concentration. A is for apple. We did this for every letter, and by the end of that first class, I could recite the entire alphabet. I felt so proud of that small achievement. It was my first step on a very long journey. As the days went by, we learned new words. Mrs. Smith was a wonderful teacher who used games and songs to make learning fun. We learned the words for animals, colors, and the objects all around us. Every new word felt like making a new friend. I remember she brought a big picture dictionary to class one day. It had pictures and words for everything imaginable. I would spend hours just looking at the pictures, learning the words. My favorite word was butterfly. It sounded so pretty, so magical. And in many ways, That's what learning English felt like, the slow, beautiful transformation of a butterfly. Part 2. Building the foundation. The 4 core skills. That initial spark of curiosity was important, but curiosity alone doesn't create fluency. The next phase of my journey was about building a solid foundation, which meant dedicating myself to the 4 core skills of any language: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Listening. Tuning my ear to the language. As I've mentioned, my journey started with listening to the radio. As I grew, this expanded. Music became a new and wonderful teacher. At first, I just enjoyed the melody of English songs, but soon I began paying close attention to the lyrics. I would look up words I didn't understand, and I found that singing along with artists like the Beatles or Ed Sheeran was a fantastic way to improve my pronunciation and get a feel for the natural rhythm of English. Watching movies and TV shows was another crucial step. One evening, my father brought home a DVD of a movie in English. It was about a brave lion. At first, I didn't understand much of the dialogue, but the pictures, the action, and the actors' expressions helped me follow the story. Slowly, as watching movies became a regular family activity, I started understanding more and more. I began with cartoons and fairy tales, then moved to shows like Friends, which were perfect for learning everyday conversational English and common idioms. This was both fun and incredibly educational. Later, I discovered podcasts and audiobooks. Listening to podcasts like TED Talks daily during my commute exposed me to different accents, speaking speeds, and a wide range of vocabulary. Listening to audiobooks while following along with the written text was another powerful technique that connected my listening and reading skills. This constant exposure was like tuning my ear to a new radio station, and over time the static cleared and the message came through with beautiful clarity. Reading, opening a world of words. Reading was the skill that truly opened up the world to me. My teacher, Mrs. Smith, introduced us to our first simple storybooks. I remember picking a book with a bright, colorful cover about a cat named Tom. It was hard at first. I had to look up many words in my picture dictionary, but I didn't give up. The more I read, the easier it became. I started to understand the stories, and soon, reading became my favorite activity. I would read a book every night before bed. As I grew older and more confident, my father subscribed to an English newspaper. Initially, reading the long articles with their complex vocabulary was difficult. But I persisted, starting with just the headlines and short articles. This practice dramatically improved my vocabulary, increased my reading speed, and taught me about world events. Soon, I was reading English magazines and, eventually, classic English literature poems, plays, and challenging novels. Each book was a new world to explore, and each page improved my understanding of sentence structure and different writing styles. Writing, finding my voice in English. After reading, the natural next step was writing. Mrs. Smith gave us all notebooks and asked us to write simple sentences. At first, I wrote about my family. My mother is kind. My father is strong. She would check our notebooks, correct our mistakes, and always write kind, encouraging notes like, "Well done," or "Good job." This positive feedback motivated me to write more. I started writing short stories. They were simple, but they made me happy. As I got older, I started keeping a daily diary in English. Every night, I would write about my day, my thoughts, and my feelings. This regular practice helped me apply the grammar and vocabulary I was learning. I could see my writing improve over time, my sentences becoming longer and more complex. It was a wonderful way to track my own progress. Later, I began writing letters to an exchange student friend named Emma, who had moved back to England. Writing letters was a fantastic way to practice. I would write about my daily life, my school, and my friends. Receiving her letters in return was always a thrill. It was a real conversation on paper, and it improved my writing skills while also making me more confident in expressing myself. I also started using social media in English, joining groups about my hobbies, commenting on posts, and connecting with people from different countries. This made my writing practice social, fun, and relevant. Speaking. Overcoming the fear. Learning words was fun, but speaking was a real challenge. I was shy and terrified of making mistakes. My teacher, Mrs. Smith, noticed this and gently encouraged all of us to speak. "It's okay to make mistakes," she would say. "Mistakes help us learn." We started by practicing in pairs. My partner, Sam, was also shy, so we helped each other. We took turns speaking simple sentences back and forth. Slowly, with that gentle practice, we gained confidence. Later, I found other opportunities. My school had an exchange program, and a student from England named Emma stayed with my family. I was so nervous, but Emma was friendly and patient. We talked about everything, and she would teach me new words and kindly correct my sentences. Spending time with a native speaker and realizing I could communicate with her was a huge breakthrough. I realized speaking English could actually be fun. As I got older, I joined our school's English club. It was a place where we could practice speaking outside the classroom in a relaxed environment. We played games, had storytelling sessions, and held debates. I also started practicing with tourists in our town, greeting them and offering help. This was real-life practice, and it did wonders for my confidence. All of these small, brave steps from speaking with a shy partner to giving directions to a tourist built upon each other. And slowly, the fear of speaking began to melt away. Part 3. The Toolkit: Essential Strategies for Acceleration. As I moved into the intermediate stage of my learning, I started to develop a more conscious toolkit of strategies. These were specific techniques I used to accelerate my progress in key areas. My vocabulary building toolkit. Building vocabulary is crucial. Without words, you have nothing to say. I used a combination of methods. The labeling of items in my house was my first tool. My second was my vocabulary notebook, where I wrote down every new word I encountered. But I soon learned that just writing words down wasn't enough. I needed to learn them in context. So, I started focusing on learning phrases, not just single words. Phrases like, "Good morning," "How are you?" or idioms like, "It's raining cats and dogs," are the building blocks of natural conversation. To memorize these words and phrases, I discovered the power of flashcards. I used a mobile app called Anki, which uses a spaced repetition system SRS. This is an intelligent algorithm that shows you a flashcard just before you're about to forget it. This technique dramatically improved my ability to retain new vocabulary. My pronunciation and fluency toolkit. Good pronunciation is key to being understood. One of the best techniques I used was shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say as closely and quickly as possible. This helps you mimic the natural rhythm, stress, and intonation of English. Another powerful tool was recording myself speaking. I would read a paragraph from a book, record it on my phone, and then listen back. It was strange to hear my own voice at first, but it allowed me to compare my pronunciation to that of a native speaker and identify sounds I needed to improve. I also practiced speaking in front of a mirror to watch how my mouth moved when I made different sounds. To prepare for real-life conversations, I used role-playing. I would practice common situations like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions, either with a friend or by myself. This helped me prepare the language I would need, making me feel much more confident when the real situation occurred. My grammar toolkit. Grammar can feel overwhelming, so my strategy was to focus on the basics first. I didn't try to learn every single rule at once. I focused on understanding simple tense present, past, and future and basic sentence structure, subject, verb, object. I found that breaking down complex sentences was a very helpful practice. If I wanted to express a complicated idea, instead of trying to say one long, perfect sentence, I would break it down into 2 or 3 simpler ones. This helped me communicate my ideas clearly without getting tangled up in complex grammar. As my skills improved, I naturally started combining these simple sentences into more complex ones. Part 4. The mindset of a fluent speaker. Throughout my journey, I realized that learning a language is not just an intellectual exercise, it's an emotional one. Your mindset, how you think about yourself and the learning processes, perhaps the most important factor in your success. Overcoming fear and embracing mistakes. As I mentioned, the fear of speaking was a huge obstacle for me. But I had to learn that this fear was stopping my progress. The key was to start speaking in safe environments, like with a trusted friend or a supportive teacher. This builds confidence. Most importantly, I had to change my relationship with mistakes. I learned to see them not as failures but as invaluable learning opportunities. Every mistake I made was a signpost that pointed me toward an area I needed to improve. When someone corrected me, I learned to see it not as criticism, but as a gift. Embracing mistakes is a superpower for any language learner. Motivation, consistency, and patience. Staying motivated on a long journey can be tough. My solution was to set small, realistic, and achievable goals. Instead of a vague goal like become fluent, I would set a goal like learn 10 new words this week, or have one 5-minute conversation in English. And every time I achieved a small goal, I would celebrate that achievement. This celebration, no matter how small, gave me a boost of positive reinforcement and kept me motivated. Above all, I learned the power of patience and persistence. Learning a language is a marathon. There will be good days and bad days. There will be times when progress feels slow. The key is to be patient with yourself and to remain persistent in your efforts. A little bit of practice every single day accumulates into massive progress over time. Part 5. Living the language, immersion, and culture. The final phase of my journey was moving from learning English to living in English. This is where fluency truly begins to feel natural. I did this through immersion. As I mentioned, I surrounded myself with English as much as possible, changing my phone language, listening to English radio, reading English news. I also used the internet as a powerful tool. I joined online forums and chatted with people from around the world. I also made a conscious effort to explore English culture. Learning a language is also about learning the culture behind it. I learned about traditions, festivals, and history through books, movies, and music. This gave me a deeper appreciation of the language and made my learning more interesting. My dream was always to travel to an English-speaking country. When I finally had the opportunity to visit England, it was a transformative experience. Staying with a host family and having to speak English every single day for everything, navigating the city, buying food, making friends accelerated my skills immensely. It showed me that I could use my English in the real world. Finally, I started teaching others. I began helping younger students and friends with their English. Teaching is a fantastic way to reinforce your own knowledge. To explain a grammar rule to someone else, you have to understand it perfectly yourself. Seeing my students improve was incredibly rewarding and made me a better learner. Looking back, my journey to learn English was filled with challenges, but also with so many rewards. It required effort, patience, and persistence, but it was also an enjoyable and fulfilling adventure. I realized that learning a language is a lifelong journey. There is always something new to learn, and that is an exciting thought. I embraced this idea of lifelong learning. English was just one part of it. It sparked a curiosity in me to keep growing, to explore new skills and new knowledge. So, this is my message to you. If you are learning English, please keep going. It is a journey that is absolutely worth taking. Start with small steps. Use simple words and short sentences. Practice every single day, even for just a few minutes. Find joy in the process and celebrate your achievements. Remember, mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning. Learn from them. Use every opportunity you have to practice, read, write, speak, and listen. Surround yourself with English. Join a community of learners who can support you. Stay motivated, stay focused, and keep setting new goals for yourself. Learning English will open so many doors for you. It will connect you with wonderful people from all over the world and give you opportunities you may not even be able to imagine yet. It is a journey of growth and discovery. Enjoy every single step of it. Now, I would love to hear from you. After listening to my long journey, what is the one strategy or tip that resonated with you the most? What is one thing you are excited to try or to focus on this week? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build our community and support each other. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos. Thank you for joining me today on this very personal journey.